Welcome to Watching That TV and another edition of What's in the Box. If your intuition is telling you this is a Panerai box you're viewing, you're absolutely correct. I've acquired a number of Panerai watches recently for sale, and this is kind of one of the special ones I wanted to pull up and do a review on. This is one of my favorite of the newer models of their watches out of the Luminor Submersible dive watch series. This is the 1950 3 days sub, which is, this is actually an L series. It was manufactured in 2009, so it's one of the newer ones. If you can tell by the look and finish of the metal, it is a titanium watch. It is also a 47 millimeter watch, which is probably a little bit deceiving when you first look at it by itself. If you compare it in turn to one of the 44 millimeter watches, and the one on your left is a 164J Luminor automatic, you can see there is a pretty substantial amount of difference in the appearance of these things, from 44 millimeters on your left to 47 millimeters on your right. When you think about it, that means by the time you add the extra width for the crown guard, this whole piece is approximately 54, 55 millimeters wide. So it's really quite a hunk of metal, although out of titanium it feels rather light. The 164 is actually heavier in the hand at 44 millimeters in steel than the titanium is at 47 millimeters. As the name implies, this is one of the homage or redo models made from the 1950 style case, which has some beautiful lines and curvatures to it that give the case a very unique look, I think. I actually like it a great deal. While I've got kind of a top view here, you can see what they've done. The crystal on this, although it is domed a bit, is actually quite flat and meets up almost at the same plane as the bezel, which gives it a nice wide flat look that I think is kind of unique. I like what they've done with the styling. They've also done some nice polishing on the titanium on the coin edge of the bezel, which gives it a nice finished look. Couple of things about this watch that strike me as worth talking about. First off is Panerai has done some new things with their straps in the last few years. And as you can see, this is no longer the traditional rubber diver strap. It is a strain relief piece. You can see can't really pull it, it doesn't give that easily, but it does have two strain relief folds on it that give it some flexibility while on the hand. And the back of the case, if you can see, features, let me flip this over. Panerai has gone to a new lug bar interchanging system where there's just a push pin that releases the lug bar from the interior, and you can push it through without the use of screwdrivers to remove actual lug screws. I think it's nice because I've seen so many Panerai watches where somebody took the strap off and marred the lug with a screwdriver head when they weren't looking or didn't do it under good magnification, and just it kind of adds a tacky look to the watch. But I realize also at the same time a lot of people don't give a damn about that one way or another. This watch features a new P9000 movement, which is this is obviously an automatic movement, as you can see from the rotor. These movements Panerai considers made in-house. In reality, they're made by a Reichmont movement maker named Valfier. And I'm sorry for those of you who know how to speak French. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but I guess making the movements through a Reichmont subsidiary probably qualifies for an in-house movement status. But I think it's a great watch. It's a little bit too big for my taste, but then I know a lot of people like them this big. The one interesting thing I like about this movement, and it's common to the 9000 series, is if you pull the crown guard to count out to the first stop, you can vary the hour setting back and forth, like I wouldn't call it a GMT hand, but you can adjust it for time zones without having any effect or stopping the movement, and certainly without having to reset the time. Which I think is a very, very nice feature, and I'm glad to see that somebody like the Panerai folks or the Reichmont folks thought up making that just kind of a standard feature in an automatic movement. I wanted to show you something else here while we're talking about this watch. I started out with this strap on top of the box. It doesn't fit in well, but this is the first of these straps that I've seen from Panerai. This is a massive slip fit buckle. I kind of think of it maybe as the ultimate dive strap, but it cinches down like a bear and allows for continuous variation of the strap length without having to hunt for holes or pins or anything else. And then again, if you could hear that, kind of snaps down like a banshee. This is the first one that I've seen with a signed Panerai logo on it, so I gather that Panerai has picked these up, and I hope they continue to do it in the future. A couple other little things about their packaging changes in some of these newer watches. You can see the tools are still included. The screwdriver, I guess the screwdriver is there because you still need a screwdriver to take apart the buckle assembly, but now there is a dual push pin tool made out of plastic that's included to allow you to change the straps without having to again attack the side of the case lug with a screwdriver, which I think is nice. And then they've changed their packaging up a little bit on the newer style watches. Instead of a movement certificate, the movement numbers, the chronometer testing rate numbers, are now actually inserted into the, if you will, certificates booklet, but rather than being a separate trifold, they now just put them in the book, keep them from getting lost. And then obviously the warranty information and the dealer information is enclosed inside the book, as are the serial number and model number and things for the watch. So all in all, I just think it's a nice series of upgrades to the Panerai line, and having always been a fan of their dive watches, I just think this is a super piece. So this watch, along with a lot of other Panerais, is available for sale at watchnut.com. So if you want to go take a look, get some close-up photographs, please do. Thank you very much for watching.